not. I can say that personally. I know you can.
Okay. No, well, wait a second. Show me how you can define liberal education without reference.
I think that all of us support our mission statement, Tom. And I don't know about liberal education or liberty or what you do and who you are and why that matters. But I know what we do.
Don't tell me you've been sitting in Shimer classes and you don't know what liberal education is, because then we're not doing our job.
We know what Shimer's liberal education is, not liberal education in general.
Seems, like the way I've heard you say it, just this, like what I'm hearing has been this, examining preconceived notions to arrive at some sort of truth. And this is the idea, like you've got answers at the end of the road. And you say you don't really care what answer we come to, but from the way you speak, it's clear that you do feel that there is a right answer, because otherwise you wouldn't countermand the total will of this college unless you felt that you had some sort of exclusive access to the truth. Well, hang on. But on the other hand, what I think we're trying to express and what I find conspicuously absent from everything you've said about liberal education is shared inquiry. That seems to be kind of like the main thing for us. It's not really what Bill was saying before. It's not necessarily about figuring out how any given philosopher understood him or herself. It's about the process of getting there to get it. And this is what promotes active citizenship. It promotes society. It promotes, this is kind of not assuming that in the end, one person is going to have access to the truth, and then once you get there, you're done. Because that never happens. There are always more notions to examine.
If what you mean is, and I just want to make sure I understand, I'm trying to defend the notion that the openness that is both the means and the end of liberal education is the highest activity. But in order to be able to defend openness, you have to be able, you can't pursue openness unless you believe you can close on something which justifies your openness. Now, if saying that, if the assumption that there is some truth out there to know is somehow contrary to liberal education practiced at Shimer, then we would then fall prey to the notion, to the unexamined assumption, not only unexamined but contradictory, that we perceive, but we know there isn't any truth.
It's not contradictory. It's just
to say there isn't any truth.
It's not essential. It's
not essential that there be some truth at which we can arrive to justify our pursuit.
Not essential.
Which is something we do because. Well, if you're opposed, fine. Look, it's the mission. It's the mission of a great book school to study postmodernism because of what a powerful movement it is. But it is first the mission of a great book school to study the texts themselves.
How are you to say what right have you to make that judgment?
Because we're a great book school.
So what right don't we have?
Wait, Laura, what have you been trying to say for
Well,
2 minutes? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm speaking as you, I'm a mom. I'm assuming you're the head of the household. You have the bearing of the head of the household. And I'm assuming that by your diction, by your rhetoric, you've read Hobbes' Leviathan, as pretty much we all have. How the devil are you saying that a head, even as bright and as ideal and as liberated as it is, can function without the cooperation of the other members of its body? How can you have a house of rules where only one person agrees that these are the rules, where no one feels listened to? I mean, I'm not very clever, obviously, because I'm not, and Shimer, in my case, has failed in your definition, because I am just not hearing how you're supposed to address this.
Well, thank you. If you think I'm saying Shimer has failed, then I haven't communicated well at all, for which I apologize. My whole point is that we succeed beyond the wildest expectations of 99% of colleges that are out there. I'm trying to explain why in the mission statement.
What do you think we're trying to explain? And what do you hear us, me, and I say me because I am we.
Sure.
What do you hear us saying? Like, I want to know what your interpretation of what it is that you're hearing.
I think what I hear, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that when I say that liberal education is an education of liberty, you say that you hear political code words.
What do you hear us saying about the point of a mission statement, or this whole dialogue, or this conflict between head and body, president and the assembly?
Yeah, sure.
What do you hear from us?
Well, first, in answer to your question, I mean, I'm not the one who's going to simply decide this. This will go to the board.
Are you the one presenting your case to the board?
Can we have them anonymously put in?
Mission statements allowed to go in front of the board?
There are 5 student and faculty representatives on the board.
That's not what I asked. You're going to go up and present your statement.
Yeah, no, remember what I said at the October meeting, and I put this in the email I sent out to everybody. I said, let 1,000 flowers bloom. That the board would see every mission statement from every person, faculty, staff, student, alum.
Are you going to present yours to them, though, specifically?
Mine will be among those, unless...
And they won't know it's yours?
We could do it that way if you think that's better.
Who had input into your guideposts?
Yeah, I think folks pretty much know where I stand on this.
Tom, who specifically had input into your guideposts when you presented them?
I discussed them with the directors, and I thought that I had the right, like everyone who's submitted their own version, to say this is what I think best defines and defends what we do.
When you discussed them with the directors, do you mean that some directors gave you input, or do you mean that all the directors gave you input?
David Shiner and I discussed this, but I'm not sure. Let me make sure I understand your question. I thought that I had the same right as every person in the Shimer community to say these are my thoughts on the Shimer mission. So, if somebody thinks that there's something, if you think that there's a problem with that, let me know.
Well, my question actually is whether members of the Board of Trustees gave you input onto your guideposts. Who initiated the move to change the mission statement?
Well, strategic planning document that I sent out to the entire community, the Higher Learning Commission reaccreditation criteria require that we revisit the mission and vision statement of the college. That's something we have to do every 10 years. They require that we have the sort of meetings that we're having right now.
But who initiated the move to change it? Not to revisit it, but to change it.
I haven't looked at all of the mission statements that have been put forward. I've explained very much that I think it should be changed. Others I know have suggested, I know Albert sent out some mission statements that are different from what we have.
So is the answer to his question you?
Well, no, I mean...
He's asking for a person.
Yeah, but I don't understand the question. I'm not the only person who's put forward a mission statement.
Who initiated, who called for the mission statement to be changed? No.
No, to revisit.
That's different than
Yeah. Well, revisit means visit again. It means to look at and think about.
Not
However,
necessarily
now,
to change.
a lot of you,
When you came up with your mission
Sure.
statement, was that prompted by anyone else's?
no, it's prompted by my conscience and mind alone. I plead guilty.
Well, your phrasing of the mission statement was prompted by your conscience alone, but the move to change rather than revisit the mission statement.
It's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
It's
Yeah,
not.
it is. Because my reflections on it, my revisiting,
Just because I visit my mom's house doesn't mean I have to tear it down.
I don't think I'm tearing down the Shimer mission. In fact, I
I'm
think
just saying, I'm not actually going to change the house. I'm just going to visit.